thank you, Mimi. Yes, I need to turn on the microphone. Man, you missed an amazing introduction. Okay, so let me start over. I'm Scott Fox. I'm here to welcome you to Startup Office Hours. This is the monthly edition that I do to help startup founders worldwide to help accelerate their startups. We're here today to help you raise more money, find more customers, better customers, the right investors, and take the vision from between your ears out into the world. It's our opportunity as entrepreneurs to improve trying to improve the planet, really, because politicians are just not getting the job done. And I'm here today. I run the Startup Council, as I said. This is a community service organization I started, and we work worldwide to help founders based on work that I've done over decades now of building companies, raising money, losing money, selling companies, mentoring other founders. I'm an active angel investor. I'm in 20 plus companies, a limited partner in several different funds. And I've written these books. Maybe you're here today because you know me from my books. These are all, the three in the middle are in English. The rest are in other languages, Russian, Turkish, Japanese, Polish, Vietnamese, so forth. But all of that is really an effort to unite those of us who are making a difference by building companies, right? I see companies and startups really as the way forward. We are the people who get things done. We are optimists. We are producers, and together we're all. I've even got the T-shirt on today. Team Startup, right? If you're on Team Startup, then you're in the right place. Together, we're going to take questions today and talk through your issues, challenges, questions about how to raise money, how to build a company farther, faster, and improve the world. If you're not on our email list yet, we have a lot of different free services at the Startup Council. This is just one of them, Startup Office Hours. We're talking right now. It's lunchtime here in Southern California, so I'm just trying to do my best to share with you the benefits of my many years of expertise. But if you head over to this website, startupcouncil.org, we offer email lists and events. We promote other people's events. We promote learning opportunities. We have website, all kinds of stuff, more than I can explain real quickly, but head over there and check that out if you'd like. Okay, so topics for today are going to be questions and answers, and as well as the chat. So I'm going to turn on the chat here in a moment so that you can all meet each other. This works best on LinkedIn or on YouTube, I think, Facebook too. We're on all those channels as well as the podcast. And if you're watching this later in the replay, sorry you missed it, but come back next month. I do this at least once a month, and we're happy to have you all here. So before I get started with the chat, let me just say thank you to our sponsors. Like I said, I'm Scott, and let's see, me. Yeah, that's me. Okay, I've done a bunch of stuff. I'm really excited about doing this specifically to help first-time entrepreneurs, underrepresented entrepreneurs, women, minorities, immigrants, people who don't live in Silicon Valley, right? And bring you the benefits of my expertise from Silicon Valley, hopefully to help you wherever you are in the world. These programs are sponsored by Cake Equity, which is a great platform for managing stock options. So if you are an early stage founder and you're trying to figure out how to put your options pool together, how much to share with your partners, maybe the valuation of your company, all those things that are critical. Early stage issues, Cake. Here's their logo. Ta-da. CakeEquity.com. They're good friends of mine. I'm an investor in the company, to be fully transparent. I like what they're doing so much. I have invested in the company because I see equity management as one of the recurring problems that founders have. So Cake is a way to solve that, and they're super cool and very affordable, cheaper. For Carta, and they're really good at international options because they're based actually in Australia. So they do international, like cross-border stuff better than anybody that I'm aware of. Also are thankful to the Women's Business Center, which is I'm based in Orange County, California. So the Women's Business Center is a new organization here in Orange County, sponsored by the Small Business Development Corporation, and also the Governor's GoBiz. It's the economic development arm of Governor Newsom's office. And one more, and then we'll get to the questions. There's this one, startupinvestorsdirectory.com. This is a resource that my team put together. We get so many questions about how to find good investors that we built a thing for you. And this is a database that is the most complete database in terms of its searchability of any investor resource that I know, that is also affordable for early stage entrepreneurs. Okay, so we're just beta testing this still. It's not perfect, but it has I think 1,100 or 1,200 early stage investors in it now, and you can search by all kinds of things, right? You can search, of course, by pre-seed, seed, Series A, stage, but you can also search by sector, of course, like aerospace or software or health tech or whatever you're into. But what I added specifically to try to help underrepresented minorities, I think we're the first database in the world where you can search on other categories, like who you are, like Black founders, female founders, LGBTQ founders, rural founders, like people who aren't in big cities, immigrant founders, veterans, right? So that you can find your people, because that's the best way to raise money, is to find your people, right? A lot of pitches get no because they're in the wrong room. So hopefully this can help a lot of you startup investors. There it is, directory.com. Okay, so that's our commercials. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to some questions. And a bunch of you are backstage, so let's also, well, first I'll bring the folks in, and I'm going to turn the chat on in a second. Well, let's just see if turn this on, get it rolling. It'll take a couple minutes to display. Oh, there you go. No, this is not pre-recorded. No sound. Yeah, I've turned the microphone on. That helps, right? There's always something, man, no matter how many times I do this. So thank you, Sam and Abe and Mimi and so forth. And Michael, poor audio quality. Okay, is it still poor? Wrong? Hold on. Maybe the settings. Man, hold on. Let me just check my. Oh, yeah, it's got the wrong microphone. Okay, how's that? Is that better? That's probably better, right? Duh. Sorry, man. Sorry, everybody. You'd think I've done this a few times, right? I've only been doing this monthly for years, but every time it loses the settings, right? So every time I have to do it, and there's so many things doing it. So anyway, should I do the introduction for the third time? No, don't worry. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. But anyway, so now you can hear me, right? I have a real microphone, really, seriously. I've got a real microphone right here, and it wasn't turned on. So awesome. Great work, Scott. All right. So anyway, so let's say hi to some folks in the chat room. I hope it was a brilliant introduction. I did it twice, so I hope you enjoyed that. Okay, so I'm going to say hi to the folks in the chat room. Then we're going to go backstage for the people that are on camera. We got a bunch of you backstage. So Juan and Philippe and Mimi and Art and Gregorio and Taylor and Jonathan and Saleh and Jean-Paul. Okay, so there's only room for 10 people backstage at once. So if you can turn on your cameras, I'll bring you on camera each real quick. And I just want to hear what you want to talk about, just the real quick version. And so then we can organize the show like in order. All right. So turn on your cameras if you're backstage. Otherwise, if you're not going to turn your camera on, please leave backstage and go over to YouTube or LinkedIn so that other people who want to ask questions on camera can do that. All right. The backstage is for people with their cameras working because it just makes it more interesting for everybody to watch. All right. Okay. So let's say hi to our folks in the chat. So yes, this chat is working and it just takes a minute to feed. So I just want to say hi to people. Michael, hey, Michael, nice to see you. Yui, hey, Yui, nice to see you. And Daniel and John, hey, tell me where you're from, folks. That's always very interesting to me because I think we have a pretty worldwide reach. Ray, hey, Ray, we got to talk about the Stanford Angels thing. I saw you CC'd on something the other day. That sounds great. Cynthia, hey, Cynthia, nice to see you. And Abhay, excellent. Terry, Tom, yes, okay, good. So, all right, everything's working. All systems go. Denver, Colorado, checking in. Okay, Los Angeles, Costa Mesa, that's near me. Cleveland, Ohio, cool. The Midwest. All right, cool. All right, well, I'm going to turn on. The chat is still working. Oh, and I wanted to say, part of this show is for you guys to talk to each other, right? I have a lot of answers, but I certainly don't have all of them. All right, I'm more the host than I'm not some kind of oracle, right? I'm just trying to help and facilitate. So a lot of this is about you guys meeting each other because it's relationships and networks that build into funding and build into companies, right? So hopefully you can meet each other in the chat room. Go ahead, share your LinkedIn, your LinkedIn's, your email addresses. I mean, don't put anything too personal, right? This is not a dating service, but go ahead and paste stuff in there that would be helpful to you to connect with each other. Sorry, I got behind on my captions. Invite your friends to join us. Okay, yeah, that's good. Okay, and then I have to. Sorry, there's so much admin here. Hold on, let me just put up my disclaimers real quick. Come on now, there we go.
This session is being recorded, so don't say anything stupid. This is not qualified legal or financial advice. I am a licensed attorney and I am a financially trained person, but this is just entertainment, okay? For informational purposes only. All of this, everything we're going to talk about comes down to specifics, and you need to talk to your specific financial, legal advisors and people way smarter than me who know your situation, okay? So don't take any of this too seriously, but I'm just trying to help, okay? And while you're here, like and subscribe. And let's see. And if you're watching this later, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. And there's the news. Okay. All right. Finally, man, let's get to it. So that's, let me, come on now. There we go. So free start. Okay. Put that up. All right, here we go. So I'm going to bring a bunch of my friends on from backstage. Everybody turn on their cameras. Thanks, all. I'm going to turn off the chat for a minute. I'll bring it back in a minute, but I want everybody to get to be visible here for a second. And we can say hello, and we're going to do a little group photo. Here comes Juan, and here comes Philippe, and Mimi, and Gregorio. Full house today. Excellent. And okay, you guys are all muted still, so hang on. I want to bring you on, or maybe you're not muted. Somebody just said something. Okay. Jonathan and Jean-Paul, if you want to join us on camera, please do, but you got to turn on your camera. So let's get started here. And we have, let's see, Gregorio, Mimi, and Juan, and Philippe. All right, excellent. So guys, so this is the quick version. Can you just tell me what your question is? Not even who you are yet. Like just what's your question, and that way we can organize them. Because if you all have the same question, we'll start there, right? And otherwise, I'm going to take some notes, and we'll try to do them in some kind of coherent order. Okay. So let's see. And actually, would you mind, guys? Would you smile for a second? I would take some. Look at the camera. Like Gregorio, look over here. There we go. There we go. Thank you. We got to do this, or else it doesn't exist, right? Unless you take pictures and post it on the internet. So thank you for that. Okay, so let's go with let's see who wants to go first. Philippe, why don't you? What's up on your mind today, there, sir?
Can you hear me, guys? Yeah,
sure can.
Sure, yeah. We're doing an MVP after a proof of concept, and we have a lot of interest from business angel investors. So my question is, the stage we are now, we're looking at formalizing those kind of partnership with those potential investors. So how do you go about that?
Going from interest to a deal?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. That's exactly what I need to know. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Philippe. And how about Juan? Can you unmute, Juan, and just tell me what's up? What's on your mind?
Yep. Can you hear me? I'm unmuted.
No, sounds great.
Okay, great. Building an MVP, much like Philippe. We're at the software development stage, but it's a new GRC product, governance, risk, and compliance, for a large segment of the government. And just wanted to get thoughts, opinions, where the funding market is at. Obviously, we're in a tough economic market overall, and we're still early stage. Want to get some thoughts on, when is it time to go tap for funding versus keep just self-funding?
Yes. Okay. Fair. That's a great one. Well, maybe we'll start with that because that's a nice overview. All right. Mimi, how about you?
My question is, what are the hot spaces that investors, because they do tend to be lemming-like. I understand that AI is the current fave. We're in the metaverse space, so I'm wondering if that still has any interest.
Okay, that's interesting too. Great. Okay, thank you. And Gregorio, how about you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, sure can.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm building a project which is that deals with waste recycling, and pays off crypto.
Okay. And what would your question be about?
A question: if I'm looking for some people to co-found it.
Okay.
How can I find people here that could help to set up this project that I want to build?
Got it. Okay.
That's all.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, those are all great questions, guys. Thanks for stepping up. And for the rest of you, I put up the link. Some of you left the backstage. Thank you. That cleared out space for other folks who might want to join us. Oh yeah, here's a couple gentlemen here. Let's add Jean-Paul and Art. There we go. Busy day today. Excellent. Okay. So how are you guys? Art, what were you going to ask about? I'm going to let some of the rest of you go here. Make some space there. There we go.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Yes, sure can.
Good,
Nice
good.
to meet you, Art.
Nice to meet you as well. So currently I'm building an MVP, which is basically it's a job board for salespeople to for actual companies to find top sales talent in their niches based on actual metrics such as conversion rate and sales quantity.
Okay.
But it's also a CRM, which measures those metrics and allows companies to make quantitative decisions on like which salespeople to hire, which industry.
Okay.
Yeah. So in terms of a question that I have, this is really a last minute thing for me. I didn't really decide on a specific questions. I guess I'm here just to network and meet some people. Maybe just meet people in the industry. I guess pretty much, yes.
Okay, that's fine. Nice to have you here. No worries. If you come up with a question, you're welcome to turn the camera back on.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, and let's talk to Jean-Paul.
Yeah, my name is Jean-Paul. I'm have well, sort of like a test startup. It's called worldstories.com, worldstories.com.
Okay.
Stories of the world, so to speak, and it's aimed to be a new news channel or writing channel. With the idea everybody should be a journalist and we shouldn't follow all the mass media.
Okay.
Now, it's in a very early stage, but I was just wondering, how does it work with angel investors, where to find them, how to approach them, stuff like that. So that's why I joined.
Sure. All right. Well, nice to meet you. Where are you calling from?
Currently, I'm in Amsterdam. But I really live in Barcelona, and 2 days before I was in New York. So,
okay. You're not sure where you are.
Sorry?
You're not sure where you are today, then probably.
No, that's true.
I understand. That happens. Okay. All right. Well, nice to meet you. Okay, guys. So let's. I'm going to turn your cameras off, bring the chat back in, and let's give me a second to gather my thoughts, and we will. Let's see. Yeah. Thank you, Juan. Okay. So let's bring the chat back in and turn that guy on. There we go. So that'll fill up again, and then you can reach each other. So. If you want to talk to each other in the chat room, please do. That's, like I said, this is a good opportunity to network, like some of you mentioned there. And let's see. Okay, so hello to Irvine, California, Fort Collins, Colorado, San Diego, Arcadia, Texas. Let's see. I have a question. Okay, great. Okay, so you can put your questions in the chat as well. And sorry, every time I turn off the chat, it goes away and starts over. So if you had something you wanted other people to see, I'm sorry, put it back in and then it will appear there. And those of you who are backstage, like Felipe and Gregorio, if you want to post your LinkedIn's, which is a good idea, you're doing it where you're doing it is in the backstage chat. You need to go over to YouTube or LinkedIn Live and put it there so that everybody else who's watching on YouTube and so forth can see it. There's like two chats, right? There's those of you who are on camera, and then there's a public one. So if you put it out in the public chat, that will be a better place to do it. Okay, so let's see. Let me look at what I just wrote down there. So Philippe, Juan, Mimi. Yep. Okay. So we got some nice trend questions. So let's start with that kind of thing. Like Juan, let's talk about funding overview, and I'll bring you back on in a second, and then maybe Mimi and Philippe will get more specific. Two other things I wanted to mention. So we have later in the hour week, if anybody wants to practice their pitch, you can come on camera and give us a minute or two, like a short pitch, no slides, just talk. And when people can give you feedback, and that's often a lot of fun and useful. This is a friendly group, and we'll give you feedback that might be useful in pitching investors. And then that's an opportunity. And then I also had a question for those of you, just in general. Usually when I do this, we had bunches, dozens, 50 some, a bunch of people registered on Eventbrite. So thank you for doing that. I didn't get any, like 0 questions in advance. And part of that sign up process is supposed to generate questions. So I have some idea what people want to talk about. And I got 0, which suggests not that you weren't interested because you're all here, but that something was broken. So I'm wondering if anyone had that, if you thought you submitted a form with a question on it and it didn't work, or like if the link was broken or anything like that, if you could just put in the chat room, just because I'm not sure what to look at in order to fix that for next time. Hopefully that made sense. Okay, so let's go back to Juan. Hey, Juan, you want to turn on your camera? And let's talk about that question. There he is. All right, Juan. So where are you, Juan, geographically, I mean?
Right next to South Coast Plaza, down the street from you, I guess.
Oh, okay. Costa Mesa. All right, that's an easy one. All right, cool. Well, we could do this over lunch. Or I guess we are doing it over lunch, actually.
Kind of, right? Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So, yeah, could you review your question for the audience and let me gather my thoughts, and we'll talk about it.
Sure. Just the baseline of the question was debating. We're in the build of an MVP product. The space is SaaS software, governance, risk, and compliance. Very exciting topic that I know everybody gets juiced up about. But the reality is, we have limitations, of course, on friends and family funding. Most of the funding has been myself. So I'm just questioning the current status of the market in going for early stage funding right now. This isn't my first rodeo. I've raised money before, built multiple products, software products. So I'm just trends, where things are at, how far your MVP maybe kind of needs to look at this point. I've been told by a couple others that, your MVP needs to be a little bit more mature these days.
Yeah.
Funding's a little bit more difficult. I really don't know. I haven't tapped the market at all in years.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm just trying to get a sense of that.
Yeah.
Primarily.
All right. Yeah, those are all good questions. Especially given that it sounds like you've done this before. You know to do your research first. That's the number one trick, right? A lot of people go out and try to raise. They spend years building something, and then they try to like unveil it and think investors are just going to show up with a checkbook, and that's really not the way it works, right? So there's several questions in there. And by the way, everybody who's listening, if you have advice for Juan or for each other, go ahead and put it in the chat room as well. This is trying to be interactive. And if you like, this hour is based around me answering questions, because once a month I also run workshops where everybody comes on camera and everybody talks. So that's called the Masterminds workshops, and you can get on the email list over here, and we do those as well. But this came out of that, because whenever I held those with 30 or 50 people kept asking me questions. So I thought, well, I'll just do this also, right? So this is more about me trying to answer your questions, but I know you guys have lots of expertise and lots of things I don't know about. So connect with each other, and also you're welcome to join our Masterminds workshops, and especially for you, Juan, if you're here in Orange County. Okay. So multiple things there. So first of all, MVP. Yes, these days, the days of raising money with an idea are gone. Full stop. That's just not going to happen. MVP, for those of you who don't know, most minimum viable product. A friend of mine, Barry James, calls it minimum valuable product, which I think is a nice spin on that, because it means that you've actually created something that offers value to the customer, not just something that kind of works because you think it's cool. And that idea of having customer interaction is critical, as any experienced founder knows. And these days, even an MVP is not enough, honestly. In most cases, the funding market is really looking for traction, which is VC code word for money, right? Investors really want to see that you're out in the market, you're receiving feedback from actual customers who are actually paying you money. And it doesn't have to be $1 zillion, but obviously the more income you have, the better your valuation is going to be, right? So I don't know where you're at, Juan, right? But anybody that's listening to this, if your time is right now, like I'm just making this up, like 90% on product development and 10% on outreach because you're not ready to do outreach, you got to flip that. It's got to be like 50-50 or even 60-40 the other way, because investors these days are insisting on some kind of market validation. So maybe that's interesting. MVP, market validated product. Maybe I should, maybe that's a new buzzword, right? I'm literally going to write that down. I'm working on a new book, so I'm always looking for ideas. I'm going to write that down. Market validated product. And that's been a real shift, because in the old days you could the internet was new enough that just ideas were enough and people would be amazed. I raised money based on that back in the 90s. And these days it's really more about actual businesses. So that's one point I would encourage you to talk. Are you in the market? Do you have any revenue? Where are you, Juan?
No, I mean,
You-
we have a
There you go.
beta
Fine.
test or alpha tester, if you will, but no, we're pre-money. We're absolutely pre-money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would put some effort into that. Most investors these days, especially like here in Orange County, Tech Coast Angels, where I'm part of Tech Coast Angels. I run Stanford Angels for Orange County. We see a lot of business plans, and it's so easy to start a business these days that the ones that have no revenue are in a different pile than the ones that have any revenue, right? So if you can even get to any revenue, it's just a qualitative difference and quantitative difference, right? It's literally a different path. So I would spend some time to run some pilot proof of concepts or something, just get some revenue in the door, show that some customers think this is a good idea. And I fully understand that if it's a big like ERP, CRM, compliance, I mean, it's probably hard to build out. And this is especially true for those of you who are in life sciences. If you're building like medical devices and stuff, you can't do anything until you spent like 5 years and $5 million, right? How do you get revenue, right? But that's just kind of how the market is. It's tougher. So you need to focus on that, I think. The other point in terms of just general timing, and this might be more Mimi's question, I guess, but I'll just keep going since I'm here. This is a very bad time to raise money. VCs, angels, everybody's scared is a strong word, but wary is a minimum. We're certainly all wary. Personal angel investors we've seen our portfolios plummet with the tech stock crash and the crypto crash last year. VCs are all worried because they've raised a ton of money. You keep hearing about dry powder, and there's billions and billions of dollars like waiting to be invested. But what isn't clear is how much of that is going to be dedicated to follow-on rounds and workouts and buyouts of the companies already in their portfolio that are way underwater, right? So say there's 300 billion in dry powder, which is a number I've seen. Is that all really available? Not really, right? But nobody really knows. And then, of course, we have interest rates. So now interest rates aren't zero anymore. There's an alternative. Like I can buy bonds and get 5% government-backed stuff. I don't need to maybe take all this risk that might take 5 or 10 years and maybe go to zero by investing in founders. So that's the negative. I'm an optimistic guy, as I said at the beginning of the show. So here's the positive. The positive is that all of us in the investing space are still here, right? We do this. Like I do this because I love it. I'm literally wearing the t-shirt, this is what I do. And we're waiting for the market to come back. And we're excited about the opportunities in this sort of down market. And that means that it's a great time to build relationships. And the relationships are what lead to the funding. So all of you, I think the advice is get out, come to stuff like this, network, go to things in the real world now that the pandemic is over, like go meet people, shake hands. And the relationships are what lead to money. Nobody writes a check on the first date, right? And that's really what this is. It's like dating. So it's a really good time to do that because everybody's wary to write a check, but everybody still has to have lunch, right? And they still drink coffee, and we still got to fill our calendars with meetings and look busy, right? So, be friendly, ask for advice, and maybe the money will show up. That was a long answer. I hope was any of that useful?
That was great. That got to the heart of it. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, good. I'm glad that, and it's a good question. So thank you. That set the stage for the rest of our hour here together too, because I know a lot of people are wondering about this, all those issues, right? So, okay. Well, I hope to meet you in person. You're right nearby, and we have a bunch of events, so you can get on the Orange County Startup Council list. Maybe that's how you heard about this anyway. But
yeah, I follow you. I follow the council.
Great. Okay, great. Well, nice to meet you, Juan. And we're going to move on here. And let's see. So it looks like Mimi's policing thank you, Mimi. Right. The backstage only allows 10 people at a time. That's just the constraint of, a video service. And you're welcome to participate in the public chat room by typing in on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn Live. It looks like all of those are working today, which is wonderful. And I even got the microphone working. So we're all doing a thing here. Freight Trans Manager, can I join? You have joined. You are joined. And Craftus, yes, it's impossible to join because there's 10 people already back there. So those folks got here ahead of you. Next time, come in early or email me the questions beforehand. Did anybody, by the way, answer my question about having trouble submitting questions? Let me see here. Did anybody difficulty joining? Sorry, I'm just scrolling through the okay, I don't see anybody having any of that issue. Okay, maybe it is working. Just I don't know, but with all these people here, it's hard to believe that form wasn't working. Anyway, okay, so let's see. We were gonna. So Mimi, where's Mimi? Mimi was next, I think. Sorry, these scroll bars are tiny. There's Mimi. Okay, hi Mimi. Ta-da! There she is. Hey Mimi. Okay.
Hi.
So did we already kind of cover your thing, or what you wanted to talk about?
A little bit. I actually wanted to ask, do you see any parallels between all the companies that are getting deals, like in terms of their level of advancement? You said the MVP has to be fully fleshed out. Do you need to show traction and stuff like that?
Yeah. You kind of do these days. Yeah. I mean, that's the answer. I mean, there's a million investors in the world, and everybody has different, appetites and preferences, and they're at a different stage in the life cycle of their fund, and their checkbooks are different, et cetera, et cetera. But the standard, I think, is that traction is what everybody's looking for, because why wouldn't we, right? I mean, as investors, our job is to de-risk and take as little risk as possible for the maximum return, right? Whether this is personal money as an angel, or whether it's as a fiduciary who runs a venture capital firm where you're investing some other folks' money, right? And if there's 1,000 business plans and 700 of them have no revenue and no proof of anything, you're going to look at the other 300. And of those 300, there's 10 of them that are actually making money. That's the 10 you're going to talk to. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, unfortunately, right? So software has been a real gift in the sense that it's made it easier for so many of us to start businesses or to do crazy stuff like this, which wasn't possible 20 years ago, right? But it also means that there's an immense amount of competition for early stage founders like yourself, I guess. So
Yeah.
You said you're working on a metaverse thing?
Yeah, we're going to license our metaverse to companies who don't have technical abilities to do metaverse. We do have some initial partnerships in place, so that would be our traction. But, to build up the traction, we need some seed funding.
Right. Yeah, that's the chicken and egg thing at the early stage. Yeah, there's not a good answer to that, and I'll just tell you that because you go to so many startup things and VCs just never want to say no, but the truth is no.
Okay.
Seriously. I mean, I would not be spending if my kids wanted to do that right now, no, right? I mean, go get a job, find something that will make some money, and or spend all your time not on the product, but on finding people who believe in the mission, because this is what getting invested in these days is about. It's either, yeah, you're right. Thank you. This is a good point. There's two paths, right? There's one is, hey, we've got whatever, 3 million of monthly recurring revenue and we're growing like this. Okay, well, that's not going to be too tough, right? That's a financial transaction. There's lots of people that will be happy to talk to you about that. But the other path is we have an idea, a cause, a product, something that's going to make a difference in some important way. And ideally, this is almost cause related, right? Like it's a medical device, it cures cancer, or somehow helps all the terrible statistics you see about teen girls with depression and social media, or obesity, or something like real. And you find people that care about that, right? The next door neighbor to that in parallel is to find people that have made money in your industry before, and that's going to be tough for metaverse. But
yeah.
But if you can find people that get the space, they're going to trust you. They're going to give you the benefit of the doubt a lot faster than some random person you meet at a conference, right? So that's what I would be doing if you need cash in a kind of an unproven area, is to find people that have done that, something like that before. And try to make friends with them, because they will, the problem with investing is that you have to have a relationship before it happens these days. And to build a relationship takes years, right? So the shortcut to that is finding people who you already vibe with. And to do that, I would be looking deeply at investors who have a portfolio where hopefully they've already made this kind of money, or even better, they have graduated, exited in this space. Like
Mhm.
Facebook people who are in the meta space, or people from Second Life back in the day, or people who kind of get the space already and are into it, and try to make friends there, because at least that will advance you. If you think of a relationship as a whole bunch of steps, it pushes you, half a dozen steps deeper immediately, and gives you credibility that you wouldn't have just in a cold intro. And I can't help but mention that's one of the reasons that we built this startupinvestorsdirectory.com, because it's got this filter. And what I'm trying to do is make the venture capital world more transparent, so that you can go and search, like find a company that went public in your space. And this is true for everybody, not just Mimi. Find a company that went public in your space, research that company, then come here and find out who invested in that company, right? Or you don't have to come here, but go to the Edgar filings, the SEC filings, figure out who the people were that made money, and they've got money, and they made money doing what you want to do. That's a great person to try to make friends with, as opposed to just me, who happens to be some guy you met on the internet, right? So anyway, I don't know if that's helpful, but
No, thank you so much.
realistic anyway, hopefully. All right. Well, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming on. All right. So let's, who else we got here? Let me check the backstage chat and see. Okay. So, okay. Oh, all right. Okay. So Philippe, you were up next, I think. Are you still backstage? Jean-Paul, Juan, Philippe, sorry, scrolling here. Anthony Glenn? Anthony, is that you? Okay, cool. All right, we'll bring you on in a minute. Hold on. Just scrolling through these. Okay. And Yue. Okay, Yue's here too. Cool. Hi, Yue. All right. Looks like, oh, there's Philippe. Okay. Philippe, did you want to come on?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, there you are. All right. Bonjour. All right.
Bonjour.
So what do we got? You wanted to can you remind me and everybody what we're going to talk about?
Sure, yeah. To make it short, we we run the concept. The proof of concept was successful with live testers as well, 46 users online. So we optimize everything. So now we're selecting tech venture people to build the MVP here in Washington, DC, because we're building a news and media platform for journalists and editors to get together. So Washington DC is one of the best places to be for the market for this. And there is a lot of interest. A lot of people come and fetch us and want to invest because they can see the traction. As you were talking about the traction before, the MVP is not built yet, but we started to build traction with professional university editors, to show the interests of the people on this platform. So by doing so, investors knock on doors like, hey, I like what you do. I like to give you, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000. So how do we do from there? I mean, I'm like, okay, where do I sign?
Right. All right. Well, first of all, everybody in the chat room, give Philippe a hand. People are trying to give him money. This is a good problem, especially in this market. Yeah. Okay. Well, so this is the good news is that is solvable, right? And so this is not legal advice. This is just my impression of what might be helpful. And there are certainly other people in the chat room who probably know better about this than I do. At least I saw at least one attorney in there, Ray, and Yue. There's at least two attorneys in there who could probably give you more specific and qualified advice. But here's where I would start. The standard these days for raising money at the angel round stage is probably the SAFE note, which is a simple agreement for future equity, SAFE. And it's a form provided by Y Combinator, which is a leading accelerator. Are you aware of the SAFE note? Do you know anything about that?
No.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is good for everybody then. So the SAFE note, and you can Google this, it's very common. Like I said, simple agreement for future equity. So there's basically, we could go all day about this, but there's basically three kinds of investments that investors will put into an early stage high growth startup company. So I'm not really talking about like restaurants or nail salons or, a oil change shop, like real world businesses. This is more like software and high growth businesses like Philippe's. So three tracks, basically. The traditional is equity, which means that you sell stock in the company. This is hard to do at the earliest stages because it's very expensive. It takes lots of documentation. My first company, our first round, we raised $100,000 and spent 15,000 of it on lawyers. Right, not a great use of money, and this is one of the reasons these things have evolved since the 90s, right? The second route is a convertible note. A convertible note is a loan, basically, where the investor loans you money, but then that amount of money, say $100,000, will convert into equity later once people have a better idea of what the company is worth. Because the other problem with selling equity at the beginning is you don't have much revenue. It's hard to know, is this company worth $1 million or $10 million? Nobody really knows. And that's where the SAFE comes in. The SAFE came in about 10 years ago, I guess, because Y Combinator is a big accelerator and they pump out these days hundreds of companies a year. And they needed a way to avoid all that negotiation and legal fees and so forth. And the SAFE is the idea that it's literally, as the name says, simple agreement for future equity. We sign a deal. I said, I'm going to give you 50 grand, Philippe, and we will agree that at some point in the future, that's going to convert into equity once somebody invests real money, basically. That's kind of the concept. So let's say, I give you 50 grand, we get going, and then a big VC, you've got some growth, a venture capital firm comes in and says, we're going to give you $1 million. We want to do a priced equity round. We're going to value the company at $5 million. At that point, the 50 grand I gave you would convert at that price then, right? So you're just kind of kicking the can down the road. The SAFE is what it's called. So everybody uses that a lot, except now I know all of those of you who are experienced investors are going, no, you're wrong, you're out of date. I know, hang on, I'm not done. The SAFE note has been revised heavily since the original version. So there's at least two kinds of safes. The original SAFE was what they call a pre-money SAFE, and that has been outmoded. So if you go in Google SAFE, do not use the 2013 version. There's a newer version, I think from 2018, called the post-money SAFE, and that is what investors will insist on if they have any idea what they're doing, because we don't need to get into all the details, but it affects the dilution. Basically, with the original SAFE, if I put in my 50 grand, you could raise $1 million more using that SAFE, and my money would just get diluted away, my share, right? Even though I was the first person who took the most risk. So the post-money SAFE kind of fixes that. That's all we need to talk about there. And I'm sure there's people in the chat room who can explain that. Yes, and Mimi's saying, I've heard bad things about the SAFE. That's why. Exactly right, Mimi. There are, and Yui, yeah, okay, so Yui's in there, right? Yui is actually a startup attorney, so you can connect with her. Nice to see you, Yui. But anyway, the post-money SAFE is a better vehicle. And at Tech Coast Angels, which is the largest angel investment group in America that I'm a part of, we had a meeting just last week where one of our members from our Los Angeles chapter came down and talked about these exact issues, actually. And the post-money SAFE is much more investor friendly and more fair. Basically, it's more balanced. The original SAFE was just a little loose, and that's why it's gotten a really bad reputation. But the post-money SAFE is what I would be looking at if I were you, Philippe. So that was a long answer, perhaps, but maybe that gives you some context. Investors may want more than that, and that depends a lot on how sophisticated they are. If these are like it's your brother or your aunt or somebody, they're going to trust you, and you can keep it pretty simple. But anyone who has done this very often is going to want more paperwork probably, and even the SAFE often gets modified, or people add like a side letter to it and more details in terms of like board seats and voting, and it can get very complex, of course. But anyway, that's where I would start. Is that on the right track?
Yeah, that's helpful. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, well, there you go. So if anybody else, Yui and anybody else in the chat room, please connect with Philippe. And there are lots of resources about this. So of course you can Google and search all over the place. You can also come to the other events we have. If you guys aren't, I have it up on the screen already. Cool. Sign up for that email list, and we'll try to, this is what we talk about a lot, because I'm a serial founder as well as now a serial investor. And these details are what can make all the difference, right? In terms of your relationships with the investors, and also your reward for hopefully building a great company. And if you do it wrong, it can just be a drag, as well as, of course, lose everybody's money. So this is a knowable thing. Like how to find the right investor, that's hard to know, but this is knowable. Just like the stock options thing I was saying that Cake Equity provides. Like there are certain things that have been decided and standardized, and this is one of them. So you can solve that. And even without a legal background, Philippe, or anyone else, you could download this PDF of the safe, you get the post money safe, and look like you know what you're doing in about half an hour, as opposed to having to go to law school. So, all right. Well, nice to meet you. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. We're going to move on and see who's. Shan says, equity, safe note, what is the third? In between, Shan, that's a good question. All right. Well, Kieran already answered you. Thank you, Kieran. There you go. Yeah, there's a convertible note. That's kind of in between equity and a safe. And those are, that's the right answer. Okay, so how are we doing here? Oh, wow, we're cruising time-wise here. Let's see. Let me check backstage here. Well, let me run through the chat. I haven't been keeping up with the chat. Has anybody said anything controversial? Hey, by the way, one of the goals of these is that you guys all meet each other. So put in your LinkedIn's. I'm going to put mine in again if I can find it. Just say hi, we need to do all this together. There it is. We need to do this together. There are people who get shit done, and there's everybody else. And if you're here, hopefully you're one of the get shit done people. And I'd be happy to connect with you. Some of you were asking, how do you connect with me? scottfox.com or LinkedIn. I'll be honest, LinkedIn, I'm happy to connect, and I would like to connect. If you message me there, though, my inbox get overwhelmed. So try to find me through scottfox.com or the Startup Council. Get on our newsletter lists, and you can reply to those, and those kind of emails will reach me. What I can do mostly, like I can't review everybody's pitch decks, and I can't do I will do one-on-one consulting, but it's expensive. But you can, the thing that's easiest for us to help with is if you need referrals. So like if you need an attorney, for example, we have attorney sponsors, and I'm happy to introduce you some great attorneys or accountants or different kinds of resources, like a specific question, like who can help me with this? We can do that because we have databases of that kind of stuff, right? So if that's useful to you, email us. And then just quickly, if you're watching the replay, like I just said there, you're all welcome to ask follow-up questions on YouTube on the comments there, and we'll try to hit you there as well. And that would be helpful for us too. If you like and share, that will get more traffic, and we can build up some knowledge together to help each other learn how to navigate these complex worlds of startup financing. Okay, so let's go. Let's see, let's put that back on. And then let me just run through the chat here. I got to catch up a little here. Okay, so okay, the paradigm switch asks, I'm working on a clickable demonstrator and will gather 40 or so intent letters. When would you or another investor look at the project? Allow a pitch. Well, that's a good question. It's not, there's no, specific answer. Letters of intent are great. I'll be honest though, rather than 40 letters of intent, I think you've proven your point after 5 or 6. How about getting 3 or 4 of them to pay you? That would be much more impressive. 40 is like too much, right? You need to refocus on the actual business, not intent, but actually doing it. And then, how do you get somebody to meet with you? I think a lot of it's about researching and finding people that are already interested in that, right? I get flooded with requests like this, so I'm probably not your guy, but I'm happy to pass you on to the different funds that I'm involved with. There's a page on scottfox.com, scottfox.com/startup-funding, I think is the page, or you can find it if you want, that lists a bunch of the places that I work with. And this is the funny thing. Angel groups, I'm mostly an angel investor, not a venture capitalist, right? But this is also true for venture capital investors. We're looking for good deals, right? We do want to see them. The problem is we get so many that we have to kind of filter them, and we can't even respond to everybody, because especially if you do like this and I come on, in public and I go, bam, I'm going to get like 100 of these tomorrow, right? So don't take it personally if people don't get back to you in detail. This is your baby, it's your job, but it's our job to be kind of filtering all that, right? So the way to get them to react is to find something personal that you can relate on, right? So if you have 40 letters of intent, well, who are those 40 people? Who do they know? You've already built a very interesting network of customers. Well, maybe some of them could be investors, or who do they know, right? And work through LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a wonderful tool, and find friends, right? This is really about friend raising before fundraising. So build a bunch of relationships and gradually ask for advice, and hopefully you can entice people into interaction. It's I was going to say it's that easy, which is not, but that is the reality. Okay. All right. So let's try cruising through the chat here. Ashkan, hey, if you're, you can come backstage if you can. What is the link for now? I have difficulty going. Yes. Okay. Yes. Can I join? Yes, you did. Tom McCadden's there. Okay. There's some Insperity folks in the chat room. Okay. Michael. Hey, Michael. I'd think about how I discovered the need for, could you start sending out cold email? Okay, this is a suggestion, Michael. Thank you for making that. B Diamonds is looking for some credit help. Sean Ray, okay, that's a couple pitches. Okay, so some of you in the backstage area, if you don't have a question, can you, I hate to say this, but can you leave so that new people can come in? So, and go over on YouTube or LinkedIn. And that will allow some folks to come in so that we have backstage pitchers who can practice their pitch for us. Okay. So I hate to do that, but that's the limits of this platform, right? Okay. Kieran, lucky enough to meet you. Yeah, that's right. I thought your name sounded familiar, Kieran. Nice to meet you. Oh, right. You do the pitch stuff, right? Nice to see you. Okay. Yes. Terry Bell says we're signing. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so Terry says we're signing contracts that commit to share during launch. So they're signing founding ambassadors with thousands of followers while they build their minimum lovable product. Cute. Have you heard of others doing that? No, I have not, Terry. That is interesting. So they're signing up friends and followers to actually help them launch. I think that's very clever. Why not? Curious about what you are giving them. Like, why are they committing to do that? That is interesting though. But iyuga.net, that's a clever thing. But why not, right? And this is a good example, actually, Terry. Terry's demonstrating some kind of traction, even if it's not money, right? So if he can have a whole bunch of people that are going to ready to hit the share button at the same time, they could get trending, and maybe that's a boost. That's cool. And that's the kind of thing that, even if you don't have money traction, if you can run some experiments, either that's a clever way to do it, or spend $100 or $1,000, some controllable amount on pay-per-click ads, and target a bunch of people and say, we're trying to launch this kind of product, so we put in those keywords on Google search or on LinkedIn or whatever network, Instagram, and we hit whatever, we spent $1,000 and we reached 300 people, and 40% of them clicked through and 20% of those bought it. That's interesting, right? Investors eat numbers. Like we want to see the path of this. Like, we love your passion, but we need to know that the numbers work. So if you have a way to demonstrate in a controlled way within your budget some kind of traction like that, even that can be helpful, as opposed to just, we have this great idea, and if you give me money, we're sure it's going to work, right? That's not really how it works anymore. All right. Craftus says, when do you expect the market to get better and all the dry powder getting back to the startups, if ever? Craftus, so that's a good question. I don't think there's an answer, right? This is one of those places, I've had a lot of discussions about this lately. There's so much dry powder. Dry powder, the metaphor here, for those of you who don't know, is gunpowder, right? You have a bunch of gunpowder, and wet powder won't spark and won't fire the gun or the cannon, right? So dry powder is the idea. You have a lot of ammunition, and there's hundreds of billions of dollars of dry powder right now, meaning that there's all these venture capital funds that have raised money, but they're scared to invest, as we talked about earlier. So the dry powder is sitting there. So people are kind of waiting, like, when are the floodgates going to open? All this money come back into the market, and valuations can shoot up again, and companies go public, and everything's good again. When is that going to happen? No idea. But here's the thing. That is not the right question, because that's a 50,000 foot view of the VC market as a whole. And there is no such thing, really. This is statistics, right? So the sample size is thousands or hundreds of or millions of people and deals. And that doesn't matter to you. You are one company with one deal in one market with one product or one service, right? One team. You are one data point. So the million sample is bullshit, right? What's your situation, right? You're in the market for, whatever. You have a ERP, CRM, sorry, buzzwords, but you have a software platform for early stage aerospace logistics management. Okay, that's a thing, right? So it doesn't matter what the other 900,000 startups are doing or the 300 billion of dry powder. You need like 1 million of capital in that niche. So how is the market in that niche, right? So anyway, I wouldn't, don't take the headlines too seriously. Most of the journalists up front, unfortunately, don't know anything about this business, right? So they take these big statistics and blow them up into trends, and it is a trend. I mean, it's not a trend, but it doesn't matter. You have one. If you're a founder, I'm a founder, right? Like these days, I'm an investor, but I do this show because I'm a founder. I'm like you guys. Like I have this thing. I'm going to bring it to the world. I'm going to go find the people that like this, and we're going to do it, right? So that's a sample of like 5 people, maybe 10. It's not this big statistical bullshit, right? So if this is what you do, then go to that conference where all those people are. Go find that chat room on Facebook where they hang out, or LinkedIn, right? Listen to that podcast. Whatever is in that niche. And what are those folks doing? That's what matters, right? That kind of research in your niche is what matters. Don't listen to the hype, right? Because the hype on the one side, last year, 2 years ago, was crypto, amazing, all crypto all the time. And then it was metaverse all the time. And now it's AI all the time. Well, there are still real businesses being built in all kinds of other real niches that may or may not be up or down, but it comes down to that first person who's going to write you a check. And that's the person you want to look at over a lunch or over a beer, over 5 beers or 5 lunches, and develop a relationship, and they see your vision, and together you come up with a path forward. That's your job, guys. It's not to sit back and think, how much dry powder is there out there, right? I'm not picking on you, Craftus. That's a good question. But this is a thing. This is what is it, like an optical illusion, right? This is one deal. You just need one deal. It's like getting married, right? You're not going to get married 10 times. Go find one potential spouse and pitch him and take him to dinner over and over and over, right? And put a ring on it, right? That's what this is about. So is the wedding market up or down? I don't care. I'm in love, right? I'm going to go make this happen with her, right? That's your job. All right. Sorry. Got me going there. Poof. Okay. So, okay. Yes. Okay. Craftus says follow-up question. You said it's a good time to build the connection. Yes, that's the point. Could you recommend the best approaches, tools, meetups, places, etc., to connect with the investors? Yeah, here it is. Craftus is feeding me this stuff. Oh, Audrey. Are you on camera, Audrey? You're backstage? Andre, not Audrey. All right, Andre. Come on, let's talk about this. Here he is.
Hello, everyone.
All right.
Should I do the pitch or should I just ask the question?
Well, let's just talk a little bit. Like it was what I'm saying. We can do the pitch too, but is what I'm saying helpful? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Though my previous question about the market with lots of dry powder, it kind of makes finding this person and the best deal easier, right? So that was my question was about.
Okay.
Basically, I have a company, I have a product, and we have clients, and some clients are huge, like Fortune 500 clients, and we developed a new version of this product, and we're looking for money to kind of expand on the market because our new version is so much better. And I'm not sure if it's a good time to look for investment because, like you said, not too much dry powder. And I'm new to this, situation, and I don't know where to look for the investors, where to find places, what tools should I use to meet them, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So can you recommend me what to do in this situation?
Yeah. So where are you based geographically?
Herndon, Virginia.
Virginia. Okay.
East
So
Coast. Yep.
Yeah, DC. Okay, good. That's a good
DC.
market. Okay, so there's definitely some money there. Okay, so well, first of all, you're here, so that's the right step, right? One of the reasons I do this and I write my books and so forth is to help provide on ramps for people like you, especially if you have a product and you have real customers. This is congratulations. That's a real thing, for sure. So then you start coming to events, and one of the few good things that came out of the pandemic is that we can do this kind of thing virtually, and it isn't kind of quite as weird as it was 5 years ago. So yes, coming to this, put your LinkedIn in the chat room, make some friends, don't be shy, follow people on LinkedIn, comment, find your people. This is the trick. And it comes down, you already know the answers. You find some events online, you find some meetups, you go in person, you go to some conferences, you know that, right? That is the answer. There's nothing more to this than going out and doing that again and again and again. The difference, I think, that is enabled these days that maybe you're missing, maybe not, but is what I was talking about, is the researching the people beforehand, right? Don't go to the general conference about venture capital investing, because it turns out that it's all private equity people who only do Series C deals or something, right? That wasn't the right room. You've got to find the right room. So people, when they start raising money, they either think it's really easy and they just like go to a bank or a VC and expect them to write a check, and that's naive. Or they kind of hit a whole bunch of people without really doing the research, and they spend like 90% of their time at conferences, like meeting everybody and pitching everybody. And that's not the way to do it. You got to figure out your thesis. Who's your ideal investor? And then work backwards. What's your ideal investor? What stage? How much money do you want? What kind of deal structure do you have? And then, like I said earlier, go find people that have had success in that area. Go do the research on LinkedIn, follow them, comment on their stuff, make friends, go to the events with intention and purpose, like know who's going to be at the event. This is a conference in your industry, or it's a conference of investors in that industry. And if all else fails, you can try this website of ours, startupinvestorsdirectory.com. I'm not trying to make this a commercial, but that's why I built this, because people miss the research step. And if you have an angle, especially these days, you and I are two white guys, so that doesn't help. But if you're a female, or you're underrepresented somehow, there are extra folks even trying to help you, which I think is great, right? But all those pieces is the way to do this. And I would think about this as like a business development thing. Start with a list of 200 maybe, right? And narrow it down. And you've got to really boil the ocean until you find, these top, I don't know, 10, 20, 25, right? And figure out who they are. And it's personal. Like, go find Julie Smith, who's the venture partner at this firm, and she invested in 2 other deals like this, at her old firm, and now she's here, and the timing is right because they just raised a new fund, which means they have money to put to work. So there's this timing element as well, because sometimes VCs, that their fund is near the end and they don't have any money left in that fund, and they're really focused on raising more money from their partners, not investing money, right? So there's this time element that a lot of people miss. Anyway, I'm just going on and on here. Is some of that helpful? Useful?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Scott.
Okay, good. Yeah, I hope so. It's not easy. Sorry.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. So did you want to practice a pitch as well?
Yeah, I can try.
Okay. All right.
If we still have time, because it's 4:04. And
Yeah. Let me just run through the chat room and see what else we've got going on here. We usually run a little over, so we'll be right back to Andre. And it looks like Daniel and Philippe are backstage. If you wanted to join us and try a quick pitch as well, we can do a few of those. And let me just run through the chat here. Okay, so those are good questions from Andre. Okay, what is the best way to get help for a game software project? Need funds for old debt relief. Okay, new development. Okay, so TS is asking, you guys might be able, actually, I can feature this. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that slick? Okay, so a game project, cool. Existing MVP, good. Need funds for old debt relief. Nobody's going to give you money to pay off your old debts. That is just not what investors want to do. Sorry, TS. That is kind of a non-starter, honestly. I don't know your situation. Again, right? This is not legal or financial advice that's qualified, right? You should talk to specific experts in this area. But yeah, I don't even know where to go with that, right? If you have debt, maybe you need to start a new company, file bankruptcy and start over. I mean, then nobody's going to invest if you file bankruptcy either. So I don't have good advice. I'm sorry. Maybe people in the chat room can help. How does he or she work his way out of that? If you have something new and exciting, then awesome, right? Hopefully that can grow you out of the situation. But that is one of the things that investors are not excited about. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So then, okay. Terry, yes. If you need to go to YouTube, no. YouTube. Sorry. Let me put up the other there. If you want to come backstage, there's the URL. And if you want to pitch, we'll do 2 or 3 of those. Okay. Hello from Brazil. Hello, Renato. And Shan and Kieran helped each other out. Good. Any resources for tax optimization? Well, that's a good question. Freight Trans Manager. I am not a tax person, and I hate my taxes as much as you do. But the one major thing that keeps coming up is this, at least in the United States, because I know a lot of you are not in the United States, but there's this, oh man, what's it called? There's basically tax rebates that you can get for startup employees, and you can save a lot of money. And there are companies that have been built around this. And the one I know the best is called Ardius, Ardius, Ardius. And they got acquired by Gusto, Gusto. And Ardius is founded by my friend Joshua Lee. Shout out to Joshua if he's watching today. They can get, you have to have employees, as I understand it. Again, I'm not an expert here. You have to have like W-2 actual employees. I don't think it works for contractors. But if you do, you can get a bunch of their money back, their payroll basically back from the government. So there's probably some folks in the chat room who can do better than I can on that. But I would check that. Email to get referrals. Charlotte, go to scottfox.com and there's a contact form there. And actually go to startupcouncil.org, this URL here. There's a lot of different resources there, some of which could be helpful for you as well. All right. Man, we got a lot of people here today. Thanks everybody for coming. I hope this is useful. Some straight talk. Let's see. They will get referral fees. Oh, this is Terry's answering my question. So he was going to get people to sign up for his launch by giving them referral fees. Interesting. Okay, nice. I'm a founder in a startup in Brazil. This is Renato for surveys online, creating a chatbot like Google Form or Typeform, but with more fun chatbots. I'm trying to find partners in the US to go international. Any tips? That's interesting, Renato. Well, one tip is to talk about it here and to put your LinkedIn in the chat room. It looks like you may be doing that already. So that's good. I'm a little behind on the chat. So yeah, this kind of thing is very helpful. Come to our masterminds workshops. We do a lot of that. Oh, and this reminds me, there was a guy, Gregorio was on earlier. He wanted to talk about co-founders. That's a very common topic because a lot of folks, I'm really working at the pre-seed and seed stage, right? Where these issues recur. So happy to help. Probably don't have time to get into that more today, but happy to see you. And Renato, it sounds interesting. Very cool. Cynthia says, best hour. Hey, Cynthia, best hour of the day. Go us go. Thank you, Cynthia. Nice to see you. Kieran, what Scott is saying, build relationships before you need to raise money. Yeah, that's right. We're not just checkbooks, right? Nobody likes to be treated like a checkbook. Let's see. I learned stock. Glad to be here. Scott's meeting is always very professional. Thank you. Great. I'm a software developer, public market. All right. Nice to see you. I don't know who that is. I learned stock. Do I know you? Based in San Francisco. Okay. All right. Let's see. Hector Solis. Wow. Okay. Nice to see you. That's a name from the past. I hope you're doing well. He used to be part of my coaching forum back when Click Millionaires, this one, I ran a coaching forum for, I don't know, half a dozen years, right? Hector, that book came out in 2011, I think. Still selling pretty well, actually. If you haven't seen this, this is for those of you who are, this isn't so much about VC and angel investing. This is for those of you who are like want to quit your job and start your own, your own startup, like figure out what you want to do and how to do it kind of on the side hustle thing, and then grow it into a real business. And this is on Amazon and all over the world. I give the money, the profits back to charity to fund college scholarships back in inner city Detroit, where I grew up. So if that's interesting to you, it's on Amazon and it's a bunch of languages. There's the Japanese version and the Vietnamese version and so forth. But anyway, nice to see you, Hector. Very cool. Hope you're doing well. All right. And then, hey, by the way, guys, if you're listening to this, would love if you like and share and comment, right? I'm just giving away this expertise, and I'm not mad about that. I'm happy to do it. But if you can like and share online and subscribe and post questions on YouTube and all that, this is all feeds into the growth of the platform. And that's what this Startup Council is really trying to help everybody level up, essentially. And I mean everybody. Okay. Gregorio, let's see. Okay. This guy's saying, do not spray and pray. That's right. Renato, good. You guys are talking to Renato. Employee retention credits, maybe Josh. Yeah, it doesn't sound quite right. It's a tax, maybe. Anyway, thank you for the help, Josh. I'm not sure. Renato, hey Ray, super useful. Well, good. Well, I hope that was useful. Whatever it was, I must have said something clever because Ray's a smart guy. He went to Stanford Law School, like I did. Julia, hi Scott. How to utilize a patent with the product in the pitch deck? Julia, I don't know how to utilize a patent with the product. Well, you mean how do you include? Okay, how do you mention your patents in your pitch deck? I think that's what you mean. Chapter, it's patent. So basically, a patent ends up in your pitch deck as a part of your defensive moat, right? This is why we're defensible. Why competitors won't be able to crush us, right? So defensive strategies are important because investors want to know, if we put in $1 million, there's not 14 other people are going to copy you, and then our money was wasted, right? So a patent is a nice thing for that, and that's great if you have one. And I would put it in as a slide somewhere near the competition section, and also depending on how strong and broad the patent is. It might be really critical, right? If you, especially in medical devices or something like that, having patents is quite important. Anything mechanical, really. So I would try to put that right up front, even earlier in the deck. In most software cases, patents aren't quite as strong. Like software utility patents are better than, actually Ray's here. Ray's an IP lawyer, right? Ray, why don't you chime in on this in the chat room? But the more defensible patents, the more defensible the patent is, the more important it is what I'm trying to say. So if it's kind of a weak patent, a business method patent, that kind of thing, you still should say it, because investors always are looking for reasons. You want to give reasons to invest, not to avoid investing, right? So I would put it in as part of your competitive strategy. How's that? Okay. Hector says, I learned a lot from all your books. Oh, created the base from Ireland. Great, Hector. Nice to see you. That's cool. Deval's here. Okay, I missed that. Hey, Deval, nice to see you. Let's see. Gregorio, can you email my pitch video? No, sorry, I get too many. There's a pay you can email, but I'm not going to look at it. I get to try. There's a page, like I said, scottfox.com/startup. Hold on, maybe I can type it in the chat room. Maybe this will work. I do this because I try to help as many people as possible. So unfortunately, that leaves me to the point where I can't engage with everybody individually very well. I think that's it. And if that's not it, it's close to that. But that page I put together, it specifically outlines different funds that I'm involved in, and that can help you navigate some of the resources that I see as useful. And the real way to do this is to go to lots of events and take pitch opportunities. We got to do those pitches. We really are going to run out of time. And then also if you really want to talk to me, there's a private coaching calls sort of thing on there. And but I'm telling you, I charge $500 an hour. So that's how I manage my calendar. So if that sounds worth it to you, I'm happy to do that. Okay. Let's see. Okay, well, I think we got to hop over to our friends in the chat room, but let's, I think I caught up with the chat. Okay, so one more here. Phil says, how much % equity shall we give to the tech partner to build the MVP costing $150,000? Okay, so that's one where, how about folks in the chat room help out Phil? Because that's a complex question. I think the short version of that, Phil, is that it's a negotiation. There is no right number. If it sounds like you're the idea non-technical person and you think obviously that it's your company and you should own the majority, well, the tech people have plenty of work from other sources, right? So they probably think they're the most important part of the negotiation, right? So maybe they think they should own the majority. That's called negotiation. So you're going to be stuck somewhere in the middle. There are standards for this kind of thing. The other way to do it would be to just look at if it's a $150,000 product, price that out on some kind of hourly or project basis and give them that percentage. If it's $1 million company, you give them 15% of that for 150 grand out of a million, right? And work backwards from that. But it's not going to be that easy because there's no there yet, it sounds like. So the real clear thing you need to be clear about, the clear thing you need to be clear about is expectations. How long, how often are they involved? What are the deliverables? I mean, you got to spell all that out. I would offer this actually. I keep this right here because it comes up quite often. This is a very useful book and website, Slicing the Pie, Perfect Equity Splits for Bootstrapped Startups. This is a whole book and methodology. There's a website as well that talks about this, how to slice the pie and the things that you need to discuss with your partners. And that's a place to start anyway. There's also a website called comparably.com that used to be free. I don't know if it still is, but you could look at that. And then, of course, there's I would also offer this one. This is my friends here, cakeequity.com. Cake is a stock options platform. So I don't think they have a specific answer to that, but they have a knowledge base and they're producing podcasts and stuff about that. And there might be something in there. My friend Jason Atkins, he was actually on the show back in January, I think. And again, I'm an investor in that company, so I'm biased, but I think they're doing some good work. So that might be helpful. All right, so now we're going to do some pitches. Julia, was that useful? Cool. And Ray says, yes, Ray is a patent attorney, Julia. So listen to him. What I say is don't let the patent tail wag the product dog. Very nice, Ray. Well, let's make T-shirts. Very nice. Okay. Whew. Okay. Let's go back here. All right. So, okay. So backstage, we're going to have some pitches here. So Daniel, Andre, you've got two. Okay. And Atik. Okay. Atik, if you want to pitch, turn on your camera. And I'm presuming those three of you guys are going to pitch. Okay. Let's just say hello to everybody and see if we can. There we go. Okay. Hi, guys. Nice to meet all of you. So you're all here to pitch. That's the idea? Yes? Okay. I can see Daniel and nodding. Atik, is that why you want to join us as well?
I will be a verbal pitch. I will just say something.
Yeah.
Is that fine?
Okay. Yep.
Thank you.
That's the best. Yep. Okay. So let's just start there. Atik, you wanna let's have Atik go first. And the idea is this: we're gonna just do a couple minutes, and everybody that's listening, there's dozens of people watching, right? We just want to give some feedback.
All right.
This is more about. I'm not gonna so much talk about the business because we don't have time to get into the nuts and bolts of these people's strategies. We're going to presume that the idea is good. More talk about feedback, like what was good, what was missing, that kind of stuff, so they can improve the pitch. Okay, Atik, let's give you. Right. I usually do this for 2 minutes. Okay, so 2 minutes or less.
Yeah, thank you. It's a logum. It's a business model I want to create to reduce the suicide and the anxiety and stress. And I have a contact with it's a collaborative business model ecosystem I want to create. I have few partners. They have devices and they are validated and pass the trials as well. So I'm trying to create a subscription based business model first facility. And my initial investment I need is $400,000, and it will be, according to my survey, and the target market will be returned within the initial investment will return within 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
And I want to build a global brand. And there's a neuroscientist. Some of the neurofeedback doctor researchers, they are all with me from America, from German, and from Sweden. Thank you. And I'm from Sweden, north of Sweden.
Oh, excellent. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. Okay, so thank you for that. It sounds like a much needed service. So everybody that's watching, if you have suggestions for Atik, please put them in the chat room and he can see those. My so here my suggestions would be,
Please.
yeah. So first of all, you have to be enthusiastic, right? You're very quiet, and if you want people to be excited, you have to be excited, right? So have a cup of coffee or a glass of wine, right? And you got to hit it, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's one. Although what time is it there? It's pretty. Yeah, that might be
It's
why, right?
10:30
Yeah.
midnight.
All right. So it's late. All right. So that's not a fair
I
comment.
like you, man. Thank you.
um, so then the other thing is obviously a great need for this kind of thing. That's great. I would want to hear about your competitors because I know a lot of people have ideas about this, and I've myself have seen a number of pitches in this space. So I would need to hear quickly, like, why is this different? And you don't need to tell me now, but like next time you do this, we are different because right. The idea that it's returned in 3 or 4 months is great, of course. So then I would be wondering, like, because you didn't say how much money, and what you would accomplish. Like, what if it's only 3 or 4 months? Like, what is it you're building? This is something a lot of founders miss. Is investors, we really like to see the milestones. Like, a lot of people put up a slide. A lot of you have heard me say this before, but they say, give us your money, and then we're going to do this. And they put up a slide of like a pie chart, and it's 40% on people, 40% on product development, and 20% on rent or whatever. It's like, well, of course yeah, that doesn't tell me anything. I want to know if you're going to take this 100,000 or $1,000,000, you're going to build, these 3 features and sign 6 more customers, which leads to this much more revenue in this amount of time. Like, draw that line for us, and it looks a lot more like a business than a concept, and that's really what I think people are looking for. So I hope that's helpful. Yeah. It looks
Thank you
like
very much. Excellent.
yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. It looks like we've got some comments in the chat room for you too. All right. So okay. So all right. Andre, you want to come on? And then Daniel and the 2 of you guys can come last, I guess. So, Andre,
Yeah, sure. Should I do this with or without screen sharing?
I usually do them without. We could try, I guess. Hang on, let me.
I'm sharing screen. I thought it would be more fun if I just show some pictures of the real product.
Yeah, I'm just not sure we can do that without me hanging up the phone.
Okay, I can do without it. Let's do it without it.
Oh, well, there you go.
No. Awesome! It did work.
Yeah, how do you like
this
that?
This is great. Yeah, at the same time, something like elevator pitch would be a nice practice too, but okay, let's do it. So my name is Andrei Michalchuk, and I'm CTO, so I'm on the technical side of a company called 411 Labs, like 411, like info.
Okay.
Pre-Google time. And the problem we're trying to solve is this. Imagine a large enterprise, some big company, and I'm talking about some really big companies with thousands of employees, and they have a lot of communication flowing back and forth within this company. And there are some tools which you have heard about, like Slack or Microsoft Teams or just email, right? So, and at the same time, there are platforms which offer solutions to communication within these enterprises, something like Jive, Loomapps, Variant, and other names which you may not have heard about. So the problem is none of these platforms offer a good analytics. None of these platforms give you a full view of what's going on with the communications within one single platform. And there is no tool which would aggregate all the different information flows and give you a picture about what's going on with your enterprise community. And by enterprise community, I mean both internal, like your coworkers, talking about things, asking questions, sending files, following someone, unfollowing someone, things like that, and external community as well, because most big corporations, they have also support communities where people talking about the products of this enterprise. So our solution is called Sherpa. It offers this solution to this problem. It aggregates data from multiple platforms, and on this screen you can see 5 platforms, totally different APIs, totally different sources. And we extract data from all these platforms. We process this data, combine between different platforms and then present in the form of dashboards, which give you high-level view of what's going on. Like, for instance, on this screen,
Okay,
you
Andre,
can see that.
Andre,
Yes.
Andre? Okay, so you're turning this into a product demo. So that's not what we
Okay.
need, right? You've gone about 2 minutes
Let me
already.
stop sharing. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you don't have. You can share, but let's hear about the business. This is a pitch, right?
Okay. Right. Thank you for this comment. I'll try to adjust in the future.
Yeah.
So at the moment, it's a very niche product, and for this reason, and another investor already laughed at me when I said that we don't have direct competition. There is no product on this very narrow niche that tries to solve this problem, and there is some indirect competition though. So at the moment, we're looking to raise about $300,000 so that we can spread the word about this product, get more clients. And our clients are essentially huge companies with thousands of employees. And like I said, we already have some big names in our portfolio. And the next step would be aggregating more platforms. And then following step would be offering a product that gives not just the social interaction overview within this corporation, but more data, maybe aggregating some financial sources, stuff like that. We'll be listening to the client's feedback.
Okay, you're going back into product. I think your time's probably up. So great stuff, but I could tell you're the CTO, right? You're talking about the product. Investors, this is, I'm not picking on you, but everybody, this is very common for entrepreneurs. They talk about the product because it's their baby. Investors don't care. I want to know about the business. How much money are you making? How much money are you going to make? When? How much do you want from me? And when am I getting it back? Right? So I'm not picking on you, but this is my helpful feedback for you. You talked for almost 5 minutes and didn't answer any of that. The only number I heard was 300,000 that you're going to raise. So that's helpful because then I know, I have some idea because that also implies some sort of valuation, right? But the trick for this kind of thing is to present the problem and solution, which you did, but like in the first 10 seconds, and then spend the rest like 90 seconds of how that you solving that solution creates money. I guess is the simple way to say it. Yeah, that's the feedback, I guess. So you obviously know the product. That's not in question. What investors want to know is the business. So is that useful?
Got it. Thank you very much. That's helpful.
Yeah. Oh, don't take it wrong because you obviously know your stuff. But that's the trick.
I actually like critique more than saying everything is awesome. Like in your example, there was example about Japan where everybody's so polite,
right,
that they always say it's great, right? So
right.
Thank you. That was very helpful. Appreciate it.
Okay, cool. Thank you for taking it in the spirit with which it was intended. Nice, cool. All right, well, that's why I do this show because I get tired of like these events where everything's great. It's like, come on, there's some reality here, right? There's real money changing hands. People take this shit personally. You got to get it right. So, all right, we're going to try one more time. And thank you to Andre and Atik. We got we got Daniel and we got looks like two guys here. Let's see. How are we going to display you both? I get the pillow in between you, but I can't see either of you. There they are. Can you guys you want to introduce yourselves? You have to unmute, I think. Almost. Snap camera looks like you shared your screen.
Oh, what?
There, I heard a voice. Nope.
You guys hear us? Yeah.
There's a voice, yes. We lost the camera.
I'm sorry, give us 1 second.
Okay, sorry, I didn't keep you waiting long enough.
Okay, is that good?
Let's see. I think
There
that's
we
good.
go. Yes. All right. So who do we have here? Daniel and who's Daniel?
Santiago.
And Santiago, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Daniel and who?
Santiago.
Santiago. Okay. Where are you guys from?
We're located in Arcadia near LA.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Great.
sir.
All right. So you want to try give us a couple minute pitch?
Yep, we're sharing our screen right now.
Okay.
1 moment, please.
Is
Right
it?
there, yep.
That one?
Mhm.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, there you go.
No, I'm sorry.
No, that's right. I got to share it though for you too.
All right, one more time. Where is it? Window, entire screen. I don't know.
There.
I think it's that one. There you go.
Okay.
Can you guys see it? Yeah, I think there you go. Nice. So technically, it's kind of crazy, but we're creating a new sport, right? But what what do we mean with this? There's a huge need in the soccer world, right? Only 2% of soccer college soccer players get to the professional level. So one of the ways that we kind of figure out how to fix it is creating a new sport, right? So we created this whole new revolutionary soccer based sport. And I know it's not usual, but we want to help all these young professional soccer players to get to the top, because most of them are not gonna be like professional soccer players because the statistics show us that only 0.1% in Spain they're gonna get to the professional level. Here in the US, it's only 1.7%. What's gonna happen with the 98% of those young guys that have dream with the this professional soccer thing? So there you go. We're gonna try to fix that. We already have all the how can we build it, how can we make it work, but we don't have that experience. So we would like to know how how can how can we do something like that? How can we like
How can we
commercialize
monetize?
it,
Yep.
monetize it?
Mhm.
Where can we get help? Something like that. Yeah.
Okay. So this is more of a question than a pitch, or are you still going?
Yeah, I heard you say you would like to know about our competition, right?
Yeah,
Of
sure.
course, there's competition. I don't know if you guys have heard of spike ball,
Yeah.
tech ball. Those are technically new sports that are growing right now, and those are like technically our competitors. They created a new sport, and they also like making it happen. They're helping a lot of people, a lot of athletes, and we would like to do that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for example, Tech Bowl, the problem with Tech Bowl is that they have a big table where it's like $3,000 for the table. So it's like it's a big issue where it comes to like the flexibility of the sport. Like you can't just go to Walmart and buy a Tech Bowl table. It's very expensive, very hard to get it. So we kind of saw this and we were like, okay, we can make a sport kind of like we know the need of soccer players wanting to become professionals. So instead, we created a very simple, product where people could buy off, maybe $200, $300. We still haven't decided on that yet. We haven't done the math on that yet properly. But we know that it's gonna be a lot cheaper, a lot more flexible to carry around. Something that people could, just set up on the ground, set up on the grass, set up anywhere, and properly play. Also, the game is also completely individual. So as soccer is, it's 11 people on the team. This is gonna be just yourself and your skills. Anyone can play, any age. We're also, in the dreams of setting up the events through an app. So it's gonna be through the app. You can find multiple tournaments where people could keep their scores, keep their statistics through the app.
Okay. Got great stuff, but that's about as much time as we have. So, is
Yeah.
there something specific you wanted to ask, or is there a pitch? Is there a number you want to like? You're looking for this amount of money, or how would you wrap this up? If we jump to the last slide, for example.
Okay, so basically, what we want to ask is, what's the proper way to monetize this, and if it's like a real, if there's a real way to monetize it, yeah.
Yeah, make it work. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, well, congratulations. It sounds very creative and exciting. I mean, that's cool. I mean, that's entrepreneurship, right? And helping people. Sorry, I put you back where we can see you. um, so, um, so here's the challenge. So I'm going to tell you the truth, right? So, sounds fabulous. There is a huge market demand for this. I agree. That makes some sense. The trick is that how do you make money, right? Again, we got to come back. You like the previous, like Andre, you talked a lot about the dream. Well, his was an actual product, but yours is even less than a product. It's more of an idea. And investors are not really into ideas; they're into businesses, right? So, what is the business, right? So, I think the pitch would need to be a lot more specific. Like I'm still not even clear. Is it and you can't, we don't have time for you to answer me, but next time if you do this, and you can come back and do this again, that's cool. is it a product? Like, are you selling balls like spike ball? Is it a set of something, or this table you were talking about? Or is it a service? Like it's a platform you're helping connect people, maybe a marketplace, or it's both. I don't know. Like you need to be more specific, because I'm still, you talked for almost 5 minutes and I'm still not sure what you are doing specifically and how it would make any money. And that's what this is about, is the business, not the concept, right? We're just going to assume that the concept is good. And it did sound good, honestly. So then the trick is, okay, so let's assume that we did that. It's whatever the thing is, it makes money like this. That you got to have that. Then the question is, well, you already identified 4 other sports. Are there more, right? Because most people, and everybody listening to this, everybody thinks they have no competition. And Andre mentioned this as well. Like, we have no direct competition. Well, you may think that, and it may even be true, but investors aren't so worried about your little niche, whether you have competition. They're worried about, like, if I give you $100,000, could I make more money by giving to someone else? I don't care whether it's the same niche or not. I'm going to go and buy Pokemon cards and sell them on eBay and I can make more money, right? It's a completely different alternative, right? So the fact that you don't have any direct competition isn't as important as what are my alternatives as an investor. So you need to think a little more about that and add the specifics. And here's the real challenge. I'm not trying to dissuade you. I'm trying to help you by giving you what I see as the facts. And these are my opinions, right? I'm just some guy you met on the internet. What you're talking about is such a big idea that it's hard to believe, right? No offense to you, right? But I mean, man, if you could do that, awesome. But to launch a new sport, that's like curing cancer. Well, maybe not that good, but it's big, right? It's super big, right? So that would take millions of dollars and like hundreds of people all over the world, probably. So you need to give the investor some idea how you get from you two guys to that, right? Like how is that? What is it about you that's unique? Are you uniquely qualified in this way? Are you related to Lionel Messi? Or, I mean, well, what's your angle, right? Like, you've got something unique about you that makes you the people to do this. And then I think really the challenge is for finding investors is what we've been talking about this whole show, actually, is finding people who really care, right? That see this problem, probably former soccer players or agents or lawyers or big super fans or something. Like, what's the angle to raise money? Well, it's probably people who believe in the idea already, right? You're not going to go to just some random tech. You're not going to go to Google. Like, Google doesn't particularly care, right? You're going to go to people in that niche. So I think your job, guys, is to make it more like real and like, what is it and how does it make money? And then go and make friends, right? And find some ways to demonstrate this, right? Like, sign up. This is the part where you got to do the hustle, right? Like, go find 50 people and break them into 5 teams of 10 each and show how it works, right? And it doesn't have to be worldwide. I mean, hopefully it'll get worldwide, but like, find the easiest place where you can prove your point. Because right now, talk is cheap, right? What can you do to really, come back sometime and show me slides that say, look, we spent 3 weeks on this and we signed up, whatever, 14 people and 2 restaurants as sponsors. And now we're building this. And by the end of July, we're going to have built this, like that it's got to be real, right? Because investors, it just ideas is not enough anymore. And especially given how big your vision is, it's hard to believe, right? No offense, but it's like, wow, we're going to build a rocket and go to the moon. Wow, that's amazing. Right? So is that helpful? I hope that's useful.
That's super helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, good. Well, nice to meet you guys. And and there's some comments for you. It looks like in the chat room as well. I hope we'll see you again. Thanks for joining us. And I think we're about done today. Let me just check we're 140. Wow. Okay. Mimi has some comments for you about Quidditch from Harry Potter. And Kieran's in there helping people. Pickleball, good point. I'm a pickleball person. Urban Astro Canada, yes, pickleball is taking over the world. Doesn't sound like that's their interest, but that's a place where you guys could probably learn some growth techniques, right? Because pickleball is exploding. Yeah, great point. Hello, Zach. Nice to see you. Thank you for the enthusiasm. Okay, so I think we got through all the chat as well. I'm going to go have my real lunch now. And I hope that you have a good evening or daytime or wherever you are. Thank you all for joining me from all over the world. Really appreciate if you like and subscribe. If you have follow-up questions, please post them on LinkedIn. We're learning that, or YouTube, that posting stuff there helps us get more views, and that's what this is all about, trying to help more founders like you move farther, faster, and make more money and make the world a better place. So I'm Scott Fox, and if you haven't already, if you didn't get the hint, there is the mailing list. And there's a whole bunch of different services on that site that you guys should sign up for. I hope it's useful for you. I'll be back here again next month. I do this once a month on the 4th Tuesday. And if you join those other email lists, we'll also have our masterminds workshops. And like I said, there's a bunch of other founder-friendly services at startupcouncil.org. Thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you all again next time. Tell your friends and get out there. Let's make it happen. It's up to us, man. Cheers.